My name is Lauren. 2 years ago, I discovered that my best friend had systematically stolen every piece of my identity, my relationships, and my future. Not metaphorically. Not in some vague, dramatic way. Literally. She took my life and made it hers. And the worst part? By the time I figured it out, everyone believed I was the one copying her. This is how it happened. I met Jenna in college. Freshman year. We were randomly assigned as roommates, and from the first day, we just clicked. She was funny. Spontaneous. A little chaotic. I was organized. Steady. The planner. We balanced each other perfectly. We did everything together. Same classes. Same friend group. Same weekend plans. People started calling us, Lauren and Jenna, like we were one unit. And I loved it. I'd never had a friendship like that before. Someone who just got me. She came from a complicated family. Her parents were divorced. Her mom was critical and cold. Her dad was absent. She'd talk about how she never felt good enough growing up. How she always felt like she was on the outside looking in. I felt sorry for her. Wanted to make her feel included. Wanted to be the friend she never had. So I shared everything with her. My dreams. My insecurities. My plans for the future. I thought that's what best friends did. You let them in completely. I had no idea I was handing her a blueprint. After college, we both moved to the same city. Got an apartment together. It made sense. Rent was cheaper. We were both starting entry-level jobs. Why not? I was working in graphic design. Freelancing mostly, trying to build a portfolio. Jenna worked in marketing at a small firm. Different fields, but we'd bounce ideas off each other. Help each other with projects. Around that time, I started dating Marcus. We met through a mutual friend at a party. He was a photographer. Quiet. Creative. Thoughtful. Everything I was looking for. Jenna loved him. Said we were perfect together. She'd hang out with us constantly. Third wheel, but never awkward about it. Marcus thought she was great. Said it was nice that I had such a solid best friend. Looking back, I should have noticed how much attention she paid to him. How she'd laugh just a little too hard at his jokes. How she'd ask him questions about his work, his life, his dreams. But I trusted her completely. Why would I be suspicious? About 6 months into my relationship with Marcus, Jenna started changing. Small things at first. She cut her hair the same way I wore mine. Started wearing similar clothes. Same style. Same colors. Even copied the way I did my makeup. When I mentioned it, she laughed it off. Said I had great taste. That imitation was the sincerest form of flattery. I believed her. Felt flattered even. Then she started picking up my mannerisms. The way I talked. Certain phrases I used. My laugh. It was subtle enough that I thought maybe I was imagining it. But other people noticed too. Our friends would joke about it. Call her Mini Lauren. She'd smile like it was cute. Like we were just that close. I didn't realize what was actually happening. That she wasn't trying to be like me. She was trying to become me. Things escalated about a year into living together. I'd been working on a big freelance project. A complete rebrand for a local startup. It was my biggest job yet. The kind of portfolio piece that could launch my career. I'd been working on it for weeks. Jenna saw everything. I'd show her drafts. Ask for feedback. She was always supportive. Said it was brilliant. Said I was going to crush it. The day before my presentation, I came home to find her on her laptop. She closed it quickly when I walked in. Said she was just browsing. The next morning, I went to the client meeting. Presented my work. They loved it. Said they'd get back to me by the end of the week. 3 days later, they called. Said they decided to go in a different direction. That another designer had presented a concept that was closer to their vision. Wished me luck. I was devastated. But these things happen, right? You can't win every pitch. 2 weeks later, I found out who got the job. Jenna. She hadn't mentioned she was even pitching for it. Hadn't said a word. Just submitted a proposal using concepts eerily similar to mine. Different enough that I couldn't prove anything. But close enough that I knew. When I confronted her, she acted confused. Said she'd been developing those ideas for months. That it was just coincidence. That we worked in adjacent fields. Overlap was bound to happen. She even cried. Said she couldn't believe I'd accuse her of stealing. That I was supposed to be her best friend. How could I think she'd do that? I felt guilty. Like maybe I was being paranoid. Jealous even. So I apologized. That was my first mistake. After that, things got stranger. Marcus started mentioning conversations he'd had with Jenna. Deep conversations. About art. Philosophy. His childhood. Things he'd told me, that I'd told her, that somehow became conversations between them. She started showing up at his photography exhibits. Without me. Said she'd seen it on social media and didn't want him to feel unsupported. Marcus thought it was sweet. She'd text him randomly. Memes. Articles. This made me think of you. Casual enough to seem friendly. Frequent enough to create a constant connection. I wasn't worried at first. I trusted both of them. But then I noticed Marcus starting to compare us. Little comments. Jenna was saying the same thing yesterday. Or a Jenna thinks. Always Jenna. One night, we were having dinner, and he said something that made my blood run cold. You know, Jenna and I have a lot in common. I stared at him. Like what? He listed things. His views on art. His taste in music. His philosophy on life. Everything he'd originally bonded with me over. Everything I'd shared with Jenna in confidence. Everything she'd apparently repackaged and fed back to him as her own thoughts. That's weird, I said carefully. Because those are the exact things we bonded over. Well, yeah, he said. But you and Jenna are basically the same person anyway. That's probably why we all get along so well. I felt sick. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. Jenna had changed her social media bio to match mine. Same type of description. Similar wording. Even used a photo of herself that was eerily similar to my profile picture. Same angle. Same lighting. Same everything. She'd started using my phrases. My jokes. Would tell stories about her life that sounded suspiciously like stories I'd told her about mine. Just reframed with her as the main character. She'd picked up my hobbies. I'd been doing yoga for years. Suddenly, she was a yoga enthusiast. I loved vintage shopping. Now she loved it too. I was learning Italian. Guess what Jenna was doing? Our mutual friends didn't seem to notice. Or if they did, they thought it was just because we were close. Best friends who'd morphed into each other. It happens. But it wasn't mutual. I wasn't becoming more like her. She was erasing herself and becoming me. The breaking point came on my birthday. I'd planned a small dinner. Close friends. Marcus. Jenna, obviously. A nice restaurant I'd been wanting to try. The night before, Jenna said she wasn't feeling well. Might have to skip. I was disappointed but told her not to worry. Health comes first. The next evening, I showed up to the restaurant. And Jenna was already there. Sitting at my table. Wearing a dress almost identical to the one I had on. Talking to my friends. Laughing with Marcus. Surprise, she said when she saw me. I felt better. Didn't want to miss your special day. Everyone thought it was sweet. That she pushed through not feeling well just for me. But something about the way she was sitting there. At the head of the table. In my spot. Wearing my style. Surrounded by my people. It felt wrong. During dinner, she kept steering conversations. Telling stories. Making jokes. Being the center of attention. And everyone was more engaged with her than with me. At my own birthday dinner. At one point, someone made a toast. To me. And Jenna stood up and gave a long, emotional speech about our friendship. About how I'd changed her life. How she wouldn't be who she was without me. How grateful she was. Everyone cried. Hugged her. Told her how lucky we were to have each other. And I sat there feeling like I was watching someone else live my life. After that night, I couldn't unsee it anymore. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of her social media. Notes about things she'd said or done. Times she'd copied me. Times she'd taken credit for my ideas. Times she'd inserted herself into my relationships. It seemed crazy when I wrote it all down. Like I was the one being obsessive. But I needed to see it clearly. Needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. Then I made a discovery that changed everything. I was helping Jenna move some boxes in our apartment. One fell open. Papers spilled everywhere. And among them, I found something that made my stomach drop. A notebook. Full of notes about me. Pages and pages. My habits. My schedule. My relationships. My career goals. My insecurities. Everything I'd ever told her. Documented. Organized. Like a study guide. There were lists. Things Marcus likes about Lauren. Lauren's career strategies. How Lauren handles conflict. Detailed observations. Analysis. And at the back of the notebook, a section titled Integration Plan. It was a timeline. Specific goals. Month by month. Things she was going to adopt. Ways she'd gradually take over different aspects of my life. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't innocent best friend mimicry. This was calculated. Deliberate. Strategic. She'd been studying me. Learning me. And systematically replacing me with herself. I confronted her that night. Put the notebook on the table between us. She went pale. Then red. then tried to laugh it off. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? I was trying to improve myself. You're so put together. So confident. I wanted to learn from you. This isn't learning, Jenna. This is identity theft. That's dramatic, is it? You've copied everything about me. My appearance. My personality. My work. My relationships. You've been taking notes on how to be me. I haven't. It's all right here. I was shouting now. Your integration plan. What the hell is that? She was quiet for a long moment. Then something shifted in her face. The mask dropped. And what I saw underneath was cold. Calculating. You have everything, she said quietly. You've always had everything. Stable family. Natural talent. People like you without you even trying. Do you know what that's like? To watch someone have the life you want? To be invisible next to them? So you decided to steal it. I decided to finally have something for myself. And you know what? I'm better at being you than you are. The words hung in the air between us. People like me more, she continued. I'm the fun version. The improved version. Marcus notices me now. Your clients prefer working with me. Your friends invite me to things without you. I took your blueprint and made it better. I stared at her. This person I'd lived with. Trusted. Loved like a sister. And I didn't recognize her. Get out, I said. This is my apartment too. I don't care. Get out. Now. She moved out the next week. Took her stuff. Took her copied version of my life with her. And then she took it a step further. She started telling people I was the one copying her. That I'd become obsessed with her. That I was jealous of her success. That our friendship had ended because I couldn't handle her doing well. And people believed her. Because she'd positioned herself so carefully. Made herself so likable. So sympathetic. Mutual friends took her side. Said I was being unreasonable. That I should be happy for her success. That imitation was flattery. That I was making a big deal out of nothing. Even Marcus seemed confused. Said maybe I needed therapy. That I seemed paranoid. That Jenna had always been supportive of me. I showed him the notebook. He said it was weird, sure, but not malicious. That maybe she'd been insecure and looking up to me. That I was interpreting it in the worst possible way. I felt like I was going insane. Like reality was being rewritten around me, and I was the only one who remembered the truth. The final betrayal came 3 months after she moved out. Marcus and I had been growing distant. He said I'd changed. Become bitter. Not the person he fell in love with. We fought constantly. About Jenna, mostly. About whether I was being fair to her. One night, he said he needed space. Time to think about our relationship. Whether it was still working. I found out 2 weeks later that he was seeing Jenna. She'd been there for him, apparently. During our rough patch. Understanding. Supportive. A good listener. One thing led to another. They didn't mean for it to happen, he said when I confronted him. It just did. And he felt terrible. But he couldn't deny his feelings. She gets me, he said. She understands me in a way that's just easy, of course she did. She'd been studying me for 2 years. Knew exactly what he wanted. What he responded to. She'd learned how to be the perfect version of me. And then she took my place. I fell apart after that. Completely fell apart. Lost my boyfriend. Lost my best friend. Lost mutual friends who thought I was being dramatic. Lost clients because Jenna had poisoned the well. Said I was difficult to work with. Unreliable. I'd wake up in the middle of the night having panic attacks. Questioning my own memories. My own perceptions. Wondering if maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was the problem. I stopped posting on social media. Stopped going out. Stopped taking new freelance work. Felt like anything I did, she'd find a way to take it from me anyway. My therapist said I was experiencing a form of psychological abuse. That what Jenna had done had a name. Identity theft. Mirroring abuse. That it was insidious because from the outside, it looked like harmless admiration. But the intent was to replace me. That validation helped. Knowing I wasn't crazy. That what happened was real and wrong and not my fault. But it didn't fix the damage. The turning point came 6 months after everything fell apart. I ran into an old college friend. Someone who'd known both of us back then. We got coffee. Caught up. And she said something that changed everything. You know, when you and Jenna were roommates, I always felt bad for you. I looked at her, surprised. Why? Because she was always so obsessed with you. It was obvious to everyone but you. The way she'd study you. Copy you. Try to insert herself into everything you did. We all talked about it. Thought it was weird. But you seemed happy to have a best friend, so we didn't say anything. Wait. Everyone noticed, oh. Yeah. It was textbook single white female behavior. We just thought you knew and didn't mind. Suddenly, everything clicked. I wasn't crazy. I hadn't imagined it. Other people had seen it too. From the beginning. I started reaching out to other old friends. People who'd known us in college. And they all said the same thing. That Jenna's obsession with me had been obvious. That they'd been surprised we'd stayed friends after graduation. That they'd warned each other to be careful around her because she seemed unstable. I had evidence. Witnesses. Validation. Not that I needed to prove anything to anyone anymore. But knowing I was right helped me heal. I started rebuilding. Slowly. Got back into freelancing. But this time, I watermarked everything. Protected my work. Didn't share anything until it was already signed and secured. Made new friends. People who didn't know Jenna. Didn't know the history. Just knew me as I was now. Started dating again. Casually at first. Then met someone who had nothing to do with my old life. Someone who saw me clearly. Without comparison. Without Jenna's shadow. Moved to a new apartment. New neighborhood. Fresh start. And I stopped looking back. Stopped checking on what Jenna was doing. Stopped caring whether Marcus was happy. Stopped trying to convince old friends of the truth. Because the truth didn't matter to them. But it mattered to me. And that was enough. I heard through the grapevine that Jenna and Marcus broke up after about 8 months. Apparently, once she had him, she lost interest. Moved on to someone else. Started the cycle again with a new target. Marcus tried to reach out. Said he'd made a mistake. That he saw it now. How she'd manipulated him. How she played on his vulnerabilities. How sorry he was. I didn't respond. That chapter was closed. I heard Jenna tried the same thing with another woman. Another friendship that got too intense too fast. But this time, the woman saw through it early. Called her out publicly. Warned others. Jenna's reputation took a hit. People started seeing the pattern. The obsessive behavior. The identity theft. The manipulation. She moved to a different city eventually. Started over somewhere else. With new people who didn't know her history. And I let her go. Didn't warn anyone. Didn't follow her journey. Just let her be someone else's problem. It's been 2 years since I discovered the notebook. Since my life imploded. Since I lost almost everything. And I'm okay, now. Better than okay, actually. I built a new life. A real one. Based on who I actually am. Not who I thought I needed to be. Not who someone else wanted me to be. I have boundaries now. Strong ones. I don't let people in the way I used to. Don't share everything. Don't assume trust is automatic. Some people say that's sad. That Jenna made me cynical. Closed off. But I don't see it that way. She taught me to value myself. To protect my energy. To pay attention to red flags. To trust my instincts. I'll probably never have a friendship like that again. That level of closeness. That level of intimacy. And that's okay. Because that friendship was built on a lie anyway. Jenna didn't want a best friend. She wanted a life to steal. And I was convenient. Available. Naive enough to think that what we had was real. But it wasn't. It never was. My name is Lauren. 2 years ago, I discovered my best friend had been systematically stealing my life. And it nearly destroyed me. But I survived. Rebuilt. Became stronger. More careful. More aware. And I learned that the most important relationship you can have is with yourself. Know who you are. Protect that. Don't let anyone take it from you. Not even your best friend. Especially not your best friend.